Hello, everybody out there in the world of social media. We are here yet again, this time with one of our speakers for the Future of Strengths Forum. This is a fully live virtual forum that takes place over 3 days this year, October 2nd through the 4th. And I am super excited to have one of our few repeats from last year's forum. Last year joined us for a panel, I believe, as well as a facilitated session. But this year, you are our opening keynote speaker because you've had some pretty interesting things happen over the last year. So,
That's so
Andrew,
true.
why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself and tell the people who you are, where you are, and what you're doing in the world?
Awesome. Well, I'm Andrew Sloane. I'm an integrated psychotherapist and leadership coach. I'm based in, Australia now. I'm actually traveling around Australia for 12 months. I am working and living on the road, connected to nature. I am becoming a nomad well before my time. No grey nomads here. And so, yeah, I'm actually coming live from Australia. I'm actually sitting in Sanford, Queensland right now, and really loving this first phase of my trip. But I'm really focused at the moment on how to support individuals and their leaders. So these are from all walks of life to support how the hell are we going to get our heads, heart, and hands around this new normal we have found ourselves in, this digitified chaos
Yes.
that we are living in. And yeah, I'm really excited. I'm so honored to be the first speaker. And I also am honored to share a book that I'm publishing on the 18th of November. And so we're actually going to use the book as a bit of a blueprint for our conversation at the forum.
Yeah, give us a little bit of a sneak peek about that because once I knew your book had been published and just knowing the direction you were going, it felt so aligned with what we've been trying to do at Practical Strength. So, I mean, I couldn't think of a better opening keynote than to have you do that for us and share your perspective. So, give us a little
It's
teaser.
it's an absolute thrill. Well, we're actually centering our conversation at the forum on belonging, but we have to chart a course from what are all the conditions against us feeling a sense and a practical sort of idea of what belonging actually is in our bodies and in each other, with each other, and in our relationships with the world. So my book is called Why Things Feel Fucked, and it translates basically 10 years of my private practice and condenses it all into one book. Um, we start in the land of disconnection and we end in the land of connection. The threshold through the bridge through is our nervous system. And how do we find a way to more grounded connectedness for ourselves? And then how do we use that to sync up with each other, to foster belonging, to activate belonging in the world again? So that's a bite-sized chunk of the book, but also where we're going to take this conversation at the forum.
Right. And I love that because, and I know that strengths is not, a major thread through your book. And so people might wonder, what does that have to do? But because so much of what I want to do is creating this language that helps us connect on a more neutral level, right? To like clear
Yeah.
some of the filters we have when we look out in the world that regardless of whether you talk about strengths or not, you embody so much of what I think the practical strengths philosophy is.
I will never get away from a strengths philosophy, right? And CliftonStrengths is named in the book, right? We invite the reader inside of the book to complete their Clifton strengths as a part of their self-discovery mode. Uh, but yes, my philosophy, I always say, people ask me why Clifton Strengths. I'm like, well, because it matches a philosophy I have in the world. And so it's the tool that anchors me in the philosophy that I have, that we are more good than bad. And if we could just crack the code of our uniqueness, we'd be able to live a way better life. And then I stumbled on Clifton Strengths about 10 years ago. I was like, yeah, this is it. So yeah, it's absolutely mentioned inside of the book, but it's a thread, right, of self-understanding, self-sovereignty, self-knowledge to make sure that we can make really great choices on the road ahead, but more importantly, create relationships with others that are mutual, reciprocal, and share in power, rather than the power over relationships that are dominating our world, our workplaces, and our homes, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm just kind of tingling thinking about it. Um, and I hope that people will, will tune in for this alone. But we're going to wrap up. This is a quick, just get to know you and get a little teaser from you. So I'm going to ask you one more question. And all I need from you is a number 1 through 5.
I'm going to pick 3.
3. In a world where strengths is a shared language, what becomes possible?
Oh, I I think a lot of the conflict we're seeing at a global level at the moment is because we've lost the capacity for shared language. And I see this go from, the geopolitical stage all the way down into organizations and local communities and all the way into our intimate relationships. When we are not saying things in a particular way that feels like the other person gets us and really understands where we're coming from, we create divide and division and disconnection. We erode trust. And so if we could accelerate this shared language of our uniqueness, we would accelerate trust at the micro all the way up to the macro level. And, I have to be honest, it feels so far away right now.
I
And
know, I know.
and I, in some moments I lose hope, right? But I think we have to have a conversation about that. And I think we have to grieve a part of that, whilst at the same time have an active form of hope that attaches to that lack
Yeah.
of hope. It's like, what are the small things that we could do often in our intimate relationships, our local communities, like you are, in our organizations, in our teams, and in our biggest systems in our world, to actually one person at a time change the dial on
Yes.
trust.
Yes. No,
Mm.
I love that. Yes. And that piece about hope, I fully, oh goodness. That's one of those like, yes. I feel that, right? And people, I've moved back after living overseas for 14 years. And so many people are like, you moved back now? Like, why did you pick now to move back to the States? And I think about it and I think, yeah, it's really challenging. But with everything I want to do, I don't know if I could have picked a better time and a more
Mm.
important time for me to do what it is I want to do. Like my mission feels fully aligned for what we are encountering. And I do agree. I think it builds trust. I love where you went with that. And then I also write the hope. And one of the reasons I want to teach the language is because I also think it gives us more compassion. And by being more objective with who we are, we naturally become more objective with others, which is almost like an organic
Mm.
growth of compassion,
Mm.
right? And with that, you get stability. And without even
Mm.
really needing to, I don't do strengths-based leadership, but right, those are the 4 pillars. And I really do believe that this language does lead us there. And if we look at where we are in the world, do
Yeah.
we have trust in our leaders? Do we have hope? Do we have compassion? And do we have stability? I think the answer
I
is
didn't I didn't even
generally no.
I didn't even see the 4 needs of followers in what I was saying, but it's so true. But it's true because it's neurologically accurate. Our
Sure.
nervous system needs trust, safety, and connection with another person. And then everything else follows, which is care, which is that sort of transparency and clarity, that we need in times of incredible angst.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking a few moments of your day. I know you're just getting started as we're just winding down. So thank you so much for that, Andrew. I think if you have a chance to join us this year, I mean, it's worth it just to hear some of our speakers, but we have 18 great sessions. We've got some wonderful panels. We've got 5 fabulous speakers. And honestly, if you can't make it or you're thinking, oh my gosh, I can't sit online for all of that, that's okay. If you
Mhm.
register, you get all the recordings. But if you really can't join us, you can also get the recordings for just $77 and still join us for our other workshops, totally included. This is about building community and creating accessibility. So I do hope you'll consider joining us. And thank you so much, Andrew. Have a wonderful day. I appreciate you.